Hello friends, and welcome back. Before you relax, subscribe, and join us on another unforgettable journey through history. Tonight, we uncover the incredible true story of Japan's legendary samurai, warriors whose honor, courage, and sacrifice shaped a nation for nearly 1,000 years. Long before the samurai became legends, Japan was a land shaped by mountains, forests, and scattered communities separated by difficult terrain. Powerful families guarded their lands, while distant emperors struggled to project authority across the islands. In this demanding landscape, survival depended upon courage, loyalty, and skill with the bow and sword. From these quiet beginnings, a new class of warriors slowly emerged, destined to change the nation's history forever. While the imperial court celebrated poetry, ceremony, and refined traditions, distant provinces demanded a different kind of leadership. Local landowners increasingly relied upon skilled fighters to defend estates, settle disputes, and protect valuable harvests. These warriors gradually earned influence beyond the battlefield, forming bonds of loyalty that would reshape political power. The contrast between graceful courts and hardened frontiers marked the beginning of a profound transformation. Becoming a samurai required far more than learning to fight. From an early age, young warriors trained relentlessly in archery, horseback riding, swordsmanship, and self-control. Discipline shaped every movement, while loyalty to one's lord became the foundation of identity. Victory depended not only upon strength, but upon patience, judgment, and unwavering commitment. Each lesson prepared them for responsibilities that extended far beyond the battlefield. As powerful clans competed for influence, conflicts became increasingly frequent. Alliances shifted with remarkable speed, and neighboring families often found themselves on opposite sides of the same struggle. Battles determined not only territory, but prestige, wealth, and survival. Every victory strengthened ambitious leaders, while every defeat altered the balance of power. Japan was slowly entering an age where the sword would speak louder than imperial decree. To outsiders, the sword symbolized the samurai above all else. Yet the blade represented more than a weapon. It embodied discipline, craftsmanship, responsibility, and honor carefully cultivated over generations. Master swordsmiths devoted months to forging each blade, believing that patience and precision infused steel with lasting character. As the samurai's reputation spread throughout Japan, so too did the enduring legend of the katana and the ideals it came to represent. As generations passed, influential warrior families became indispensable to powerful nobles and the imperial court. Their responsibilities expanded beyond combat to include protecting trade routes, collecting taxes, and maintaining order across distant provinces. Military service gradually transformed into political influence. With every successful campaign and every loyal alliance, the foundations of a new governing class grew stronger, quietly reshaping Japan's future. Near the end of the 12th century, the balance of authority shifted dramatically. Military leaders established their own center of power in Kamakura, far from the elegant palaces of Kyoto. The office of the shogun emerged as the nation's dominant force, while the emperor remained a revered symbol. From this moment forward, Japan's destiny would increasingly rest in the hands of warrior governments. Warriors prepared not only their bodies, but also their minds. Zen Buddhism gradually influenced many members of the samurai class, encouraging discipline, mindfulness, and acceptance of life's impermanence. Moments of meditation balanced the violence of war, teaching composure in the face of uncertainty. In peaceful temples, silence became another form of training, strengthening the spirit that guided the sword. The greatest challenge many samurai had ever faced arrived not from rival clans, but from beyond the sea. Forces sent by the Mongol Empire attempted to invade Japan, testing the courage and organization of the island's defenders. Fierce resistance, difficult coastal battles, and powerful seasonal storms combined to halt the invasions. These events strengthened the samurai's reputation as determined protectors of their homeland. Although foreign invasions had been repelled, peace remained elusive. The immense cost of defense strained powerful families and exposed deeper political tensions. Loyalty became increasingly difficult to maintain as ambitious leaders sought greater authority. Beneath the appearance of stability, rivalries quietly intensified. The age of the samurai was entering a new chapter, one that would eventually plunge Japan into generations of civil conflict. By the 15th century, central authority weakened as influential military families competed for land and prestige. Regional lords, known as daimyo, strengthened their castles, expanded their armies, and forged fragile alliances. Every marriage, treaty, and promise carried political weight. Peace became increasingly uncertain, and throughout the countryside, ordinary families sensed that another era of conflict was quietly approaching. The conflict, later remembered as the Onin War, shattered hopes for lasting stability. What began as a dispute over succession soon spread into years of destructive warfare, leaving Kyoto scarred and political order deeply fractured. Powerful families emerged with new ambitions, while countless communities endured uncertainty. From these struggles grew the turbulent Sengoku period, an age defined by constant competition and remarkable resilience. Even during relentless conflict, life continued beyond the battlefield. Castle towns flourished as centers of craftsmanship, commerce, and culture. Swordsmiths refined techniques passed through generations, while merchants supplied growing populations with food, textiles, and tools. Temples welcomed worshippers seeking comfort amid uncertainty. These thriving communities revealed that Japan's strength rested not only with its warriors, but also with countless skilled hands supporting them. Success in the Sengoku period demanded far more than personal bravery. Exceptional leaders combined military skill with diplomacy, logistics, and careful planning. Castles guarded vital routes, alliances secured valuable resources, and intelligence gathered from scouts often proved as decisive as swords. Every campaign required patience and foresight, reminding ambitious daimyo that lasting power depended upon wisdom as much as force. The arrival of firearms introduced a powerful new element to Japanese warfare. Imported through overseas trade and quickly reproduced by local craftsmen, matchlock guns altered battlefield tactics without replacing the importance of discipline and leadership. Commanders adapted, combining traditional weapons with emerging technology. The samurai remained central figures, yet the nature of combat was evolving in ways few could have imagined. Amid decades of conflict, castles became far more than military strongholds. They served as centers of government, commerce, and daily life, reflecting the authority of the daimyo who ruled from within. Ingenious stone walls, winding entrances, and elevated watchtowers discouraged attackers while reassuring loyal subjects. Every carefully placed gate and corridor demonstrated that strategy could be built into architecture itself, silently shaping the outcome of future battles. Among the many ambitious leaders of the Sengoku era, one name gradually stood above the rest: Oda Nobunaga. Oda Nobunaga challenged long-established traditions with bold military reforms and relentless determination. Through carefully planned campaigns and strategic alliances, he reshaped the political landscape, demonstrating that innovation could overcome even the most deeply rooted rivalries. Japan's long road toward unification had begun. Although Nobunaga's rise transformed Japan, his work remained unfinished. After his death, leadership passed to another gifted strategist, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Born from comparatively humble origins, Hideyoshi displayed remarkable political skill, bringing many rival daimyo under a single authority. His achievements demonstrated that talent and vision could sometimes overcome the rigid expectations of birth and social rank. The final stage of unification belonged to Tokugawa Ieyasu. Tokugawa Ieyasu. Following years of conflict, his decisive victory at the Battle of Sekigahara secured lasting political dominance. In the years that followed, he established a new shogunate that brought relative peace to much of Japan. After generations of warfare, the nation prepared to enter an era defined less by conquest than by careful governance. With the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan entered the Edo period, an age remembered for remarkable internal stability and cultural growth. Samurai increasingly served as administrators, officials, and guardians of public order rather than constant battlefield commanders. Their responsibilities evolved alongside the nation itself. Yet beneath this peaceful surface, subtle changes were quietly preparing Japan for another transformation that would one day challenge the very foundations of the samurai world. Peace gradually transformed the purpose of the samurai. Many continued to carry their swords, yet their daily responsibilities increasingly centered on governance, law, education, and public administration. Literacy spread among the warrior class, and scholarship became a respected companion to martial skill. The image of the samurai was evolving, from battlefield commander to disciplined civil servant, without abandoning the values that had defined generations before them. The ideals of the samurai reached beyond military discipline. Many embraced calligraphy, poetry, the tea ceremony, and refined artistic pursuits that demanded patience and humility. These traditions reflected the belief that true strength required balance between mind and body. In moments of quiet reflection, warriors discovered that discipline could be expressed just as powerfully through a brush or a bowl of tea as through polished steel. Although Japan limited most foreign contact during the Edo period, knowledge still crossed the sea. Through carefully controlled trade, especially with Dutch merchants, new ideas in medicine, astronomy, navigation, and science gradually entered the country. Curious scholars studied these discoveries without abandoning their own traditions. Quietly, the outside world was drawing closer, preparing Japan for changes that few could yet fully imagine. In the middle of the 19th century, powerful steamships arrived carrying a message that Japan could no longer ignore. The expedition led by Matthew C. Perry. Matthew C. Perry demonstrated the growing influence of industrial nations and challenged centuries of relative isolation. Faced with unfamiliar technology and mounting diplomatic pressure, Japan entered one of the most consequential periods in its history. The Meiji Restoration marked the beginning of a new chapter for Japan. Meiji Restoration. The authority of the shogunate came to an end as sweeping reforms modernized the nation. Samurai privileges were gradually abolished, and a national conscript army replaced hereditary military service. For many warriors, this transformation brought uncertainty, yet it also reflected Japan's determination to adapt to a rapidly changing world. The passing of the samurai was not without resistance. In 1877, the Satsuma Rebellion became the largest and final armed uprising led by former samurai against the new imperial government. Many participants believed they were defending values that had guided Japan for centuries. Yet the conflict demonstrated that the nation had entered a new age, where modernization increasingly outweighed inherited privilege. Although the samurai no longer governed Japan, their legacy endured. Masterfully crafted swords became treasured works of art. Castles evolved into historical landmarks, and family records preserved stories passed through generations. The ideals of discipline, responsibility, and service remained woven into Japan's cultural memory. What had once been daily life slowly transformed into national heritage, inviting each generation to reflect upon its remarkable past. Today, the influence of the samurai can still be found throughout Japan. Historic castles welcome visitors, martial traditions continue through disciplined practice, and centuries-old customs remain part of everyday cultural life. Scholars continue to examine original documents, while artisans preserve traditional methods of craftsmanship. Rather than fading into legend, the samurai have become an enduring bridge connecting Japan's distant past with its vibrant present. History often remembers the victories of kings and the outcomes of great battles. Yet the story of the samurai is equally a story of discipline, loyalty, sacrifice, and adaptation. Across nearly a millennium, they witnessed the rise and fall of governments, the transformation of warfare, and the birth of a modern nation. Their greatest legacy may not be the sword itself, but the enduring pursuit of honor and responsibility. As the sun rises over Japan once more, the footsteps of the samurai have long since faded from its roads. Yet their influence remains etched into castles of stone, quiet temples, timeless works of art, and the pages of history itself. Their world reminds us that strength without wisdom is fleeting, while discipline, integrity, and perseverance can echo across centuries. And so, as the morning light reaches every valley, the story of the samurai continues, not as myth, but as history remembered.